Hello, Wasteland. Tune those ham radios and hide your chems because you're listening to the Pip Boys, a Fallout podcast where your hosts, Josh and Austin, cover all things Fallout. Today, we continue our quest to rank each and every vault in the Fallout universe by just how horrifying we find them. And yes, you heard it correctly. We are back ranking the vaults today. I have returned from my radiation poisoning. My hosts and Phil and Alec, thank you so much. You guys did great work last time. As I was sick, I was on the mend, so I really do genuinely appreciate that. But we're getting back to the meat and potatoes of what we do here. Josh, how you doing, man?
Doing well, man. Glad all those stim packs and right away did well for you, and you're feeling better. Yeah,
Guys!
yeah. It's good to be back, man.
Yeah. From what I know, you guys held it down. So again, Alec, thank you very much for doing that.
Happy to
How
help.
Yeah, appreciate it. How'd that news episode go for you guys? Because I've
Oh,
only skimmed through it. I was just wondering how was it like highly anticipating what's to come from all everything that's coming, or
absolutely.
was it like kind of shitting on all the decisions being made? I don't know. So for the viewers,
Um,
let them know.
there was a little rant towards the end, about a certain decision being made, but
Sure.
other than that, it was all like, holy shit, this looks awesome.
Fairly positive, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
believe in it. Yeah, a lot of great tidbits, right? Quotes from Todd that really gave me hope, especially on, wanting to have more voices in the Fallout universe and stuff like that, and tell more stories. I was like, thank God we might get to a place where Todd doesn't have to be the main guy on this every time, right? We can get other creative directors making more Fallout games,
Yes.
get more Fallout
the
games.
the drum we've been banging for a while now, where
Hundred
it's
percent.
like, please, for Todd Howard, I would love for you to make another Fallout. Like, I think you do make Fallout great, but like,
Yeah,
we want more of it, and you're just not capable of doing that, and that's
exactly.
okay. Like, that's
Yeah,
that's a fine thing, but just stop hoarding it.
yeah. It sounds just as good as creative director, executive producer, dude. Like, just take it. Just take
Huh?
the name change, bro.
I completely agree. So, before we get into Vault 19, we got a little bit of news. So straight into it, we got a piece by Tom Ivan over at VGC, and the crux of it is Fallout 4's next gen update has been delayed to 2024. Something that you and I have talked about on this very show several times, where it's like, we're
I
not going to get it, and then go ahead.
Yes, I feel like it's every single episode we're talking about this goddamn Fallout 4 port, and it's like every single time, like it's like same thing. Although I don't know, I think talking about it so much here, I've almost had a change of heart on it where I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
Initially before I was like, hey, save it for Xbox Series Z and fucking PS6, right? But
Sure.
now I'm like, you know what? We're not getting Fallout 5 for another 15
Sure.
years. Like, I'll take anything at this point, dude.
We're desperate. That's the reason it's okay
Yes,
now, because we're desperate.
yes.
No,
Is
you're not
it?
desperate. You're manifesting it.
Sure. That's
Yeah.
what we did. We pulled a
Like,
Jordan.
yeah. Is it too? Is it still too little, too late? Like, yes, but I'll take it. I'll take it
Mhm,
to supplement us and get us through until hopefully we see Fallout 3 remake or Fallout 1 and 2 remake. Like,
mhm.
I'll just take whatever I can get in the meantime.
Kind of with you. Yeah, we were of the belief that. So before I get into this, like I said, I mentioned Tom Ivan at VGC, and the crux of it
Mm.
was that it's been delayed. There's a quote on the piece. I just want to shout out this a little quick. Just go over there, give Tom Ivan a read over at VGC. But the quote here is, "Thank you for your patience with us as we work on Fallout 4 Next Gen Update." It said, "We know you're excited, and so are we, but we need more time and look forward to an exciting return to the Commonwealth in 2024." And I fucking hate this quote. I hate it because
Yeah.
the way it's like framed is like, we know you're excited, we know you've been waiting for this. The
Mhm.
people that were waiting gave up, right? The people
100%.
that were waiting are just like, oh, this is still a thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think this paragraph or this quote to me just says, oh, you're
Mhm.
taking us for granted. Cool. You think we're just gonna be like okay with this tiny little tidbit the way it
I,
is.
yeah, and like for the most part, it's like it's just a bunch of console dudes who are like, "Hey, I'm itching to like replay Fallout 4, but I want some more bells and whistles." Because other than that, like that's the small niche part of this community. Other than that, all the PC Fallout 4 fans, they're still eating. They're still cooking
Yep.
mods. They're still playing
Yep.
daily, doing all their
Mhm.
cool shit. But it's like it's the console people that are it's to
Yep.
play, but want another reason to get back to it. It's like, hey, that reason's been delayed.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
And the 2 points I want to make is one, we don't know what 2024 looks like, so maybe it will fit in perfectly. When we might have a like couple weeks where it's just like we don't have much anything coming out right now, so
Yeah.
next gen patch if it comes out at the right time, obviously.
Mhm.
But then it's like the people who was like, hey, this reason for you to play again got delayed. It's like I don't even think we were looking at it as that
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
Like because of the way they're like, hey, this is coming, and it's been so long, like over a
100%.
year, right?
Oh
Since
yeah,
this was announced, yeah,
easily.
like yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like, cool, but I just didn't like that quote. And
Yeah,
again, I'm being typical video game like fan, where it's like, oh, you're taking us for granted. I
right.
got, haha, I'm putting up my pitchfork, but I don't
Yeah,
know. It didn't read right to me. It felt
yeah.
it. There's even a meaner quote in the piece, so go over and read the piece from Tom Eisen at
Interesting.
VGC where he's very like up his own ass. I don't even remember who it
Huh.
was. I think it was Pete Hines, but I don't remember.
Right.
So
But
don't quote me.
I thought Pete Hines. I thought he was like, oh, I tried to like look for something before leaving and then couldn't find
I
it.
think for this specific, you know what? I'll bring it up. Give me one second. I will bring
But
this up.
the way this is like kind of being gassed up now is almost like maybe we're starting to set expectations a little too high. Like we don't even know what this port looks like. Like, is it just faster load times? Is it ray tracing? Is it HDR? Is it fucking 60 FPS? Like, what are we
I
going
would
on?
I would
Right?
love all those things, obviously, but it's
Yeah.
also like, yes, I want to know what it is. Like, announce that beforehand. That would be great.
Yes.
But if we're not close, I understand. But
Mhm.
the other quote that is on here, and it's from Pete Hines, and he's like, "Don't know if you heard, but we are shipping a new game in 3 weeks. Bit of a priority. When we have an update, we will share it."
Yeah. Which
I was like, "Fuck you, dude."
maybe that's what we covered like a
Yeah,
few episodes back.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With
It just
the
it seemed like, man, what the what
yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't read right to me.
Right.
So maybe that's just me, but yeah,
Mhm.
I'm of the piece where it's like, well, I I'm one of those sorry suckers. I'm gonna play it when it happens, regardless,
Yeah.
because again, we're desperate. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Alec. We are
Mhm.
manifesting this to come, and so I just like I reserve the right to play the thing I made come into the to this world. So
Right.
that's where I'm at. So before we get into, I said that once already, but before we get into Vault 19, which will be the talk of this episode, I want to talk just a little icebreaker. Let's talk bugs. So Bethesda games,
Mhm.
a lot of bugs, right?
Right.
They're
Right.
kind of a given.
Mhm.
So just what are Josh? What's a memorable bug that you experienced that, or could be your gameplay or just one you've
Right.
seen a clip of that just like
For
gave you
sure.
the lulls?
Recent Nakey Jakey Boehner, Bethesda's gameplay design was outdated 10 years ago. Great video. I highly recommend everyone watch that. But he talks about, we give Bethesda too much leniency. We're like, oh, it's a Bethesda game, right? Like, it's
Mhm,
just bugs, right? Like we kind of like
mhm,
write it off and forgive them immediately.
mhm.
And yeah, it's like there's some game breaking ones, but then there's also some funny ones. And I'm sure if I had like my launch PS4 set up with all my game captures, I could
Yep,
find some like the most hilarious fucking random ass bug. Or my
sure.
Series S hooked up, I could do the same thing with the captures, right? And just like random little things in the world. But the most memorable one, the
Mm,
one that haunts
lay it on
me
me.
and sticks with me to this day.
Is it the no face?
There's 4 DLCs to Fallout 3, right?
There's
So
several.
there's several, yes. I think there's 4. There's 4 big ones.
I will look. You continue.
Right. Anyways, I'm going for the 100%. I finished the base game. I fucking love this game. It has sucked me in way more than I thought it ever would. I dropped the $7 Canadian on each of these DLCs,
Mhm.
and
There
I'm
are
just
5
5
DLCs.
DLCs.
We got Operation Anchorage,
Mhm.
The Pit,
Yeah,
Broken Steel, Point Lookout, and Mothership
right,
Zeta.
right. I was thinking of, I was forgetting Point Lookout. That was the other one. I was like,
That's
I
a
know
good
I'm
one.
forgetting
That's
a
a good one.
couple.
Just
It is a
saying.
good one, yes.
Yeah,
But I'm plowing through these DLCs. I'm kind of going in the order that my best friend like told me to, right? Like
sure.
his favorite. Get to the into the pit. Second to last one I have left to do to this 100%. And there's an annoying missable achievement. Find 100 ingots around the pit.
Sure. Yeah.
God fucking damn it. Everyone's like, hey, when you get to the pit, you want to almost like mainline this, right? Like just make this your priority before
This
progressing the
is your number
story.
one quest.
This
Fuck
is your
everything
number one
else.
quest. 100%. Yes. And I'm like, I'm intrigued to know what's going on in the pit. I like this new location. But before I can get into any of the lore, anything like that, I gotta find 100 ingots. And so I got fucking the big guide with me, and I'm going through, find about the first, I'd say 50, 60, and then they're like, hey, you got to get on the roof, right? And start like climbing up the big um, steam pipes, I guess, whatever they're called, like
Yeah,
the pipes at the refinery.
sure.
And I get on the roof, and I'm making progress, and I'm just walking along trying to look for the ingots, and all of a sudden,
Right through the
straight through the
floor.
floor, right through the floor.
No.
Knees, the infamous sound of your knees just breaking, and my body just ragdolls. Oh my god, fucking damn it! Thankfully, I've been quick saving every 10 ingots or so, so boot back up.
Because you're terrified, right? Like
Yes,
that's why I quick save
yes,
all the time. Yeah.
100%. Yes, I'm like, this is a Bethesda game. True
Yep.
achieve. Like, people on the forums are like, hey, this achievement's like glitched. Like,
Mhm.
prioritize it. Do it first. Quick save often. I'm doing this. I'm paranoid as all hell. I'm like, fuck, I
Mhm.
just lost progress. It doesn't tell you how many you have. You have to manually fucking count and almost like keep a notebook. Backtrack, try to find all the ones that I'm missing, right?
Sure.
I go back to certain spots. I'm like, okay, these ones are still collected. Okay, these ones I gotta get picked back up. Get back on the roof. I'm like, all right, number 60, let's do this. Fall through the floor again. Knees
No.
break. Ragdoll. Motherfucker. Backtrack again. Do all the backtracking. I'm like, okay, I'm about to step foot on this roof.
Huh?
Quick save. Back on there. 2 steps. Fall through. I'm like, motherfucker. Load back up. 2 steps. Boom. I load back up. 5 steps this time. Oh, I haven't fallen through. 6 step. Fall through. I'm like, fucking shit, dude. What the hell, right? Like, just did nobody program this roof to be walkable? Like, I need to climb this. I need to climb this. I need to make it up this fucking big steam pipe fucking thing, this fucking tower to get all these 100 ingots, and I just can't. I can't. It is like every other panel you can't step on, and I'm like starting to quick save every step, and I'm still falling through until finally like I get onto the tower that takes me up the big fucking steam pipes,
Mhm.
and I'm like, thank fucking god I'm safe. But I fell through, God, no more than 15 times. No fewer than
Jesus.
15 times. I lost so much progress. And I was ready to stop and just
Uh,
call it like just move on and play something
mhm.
else and then come back
Mhm.
to it. But I was like, fuck, I'm so scared if I close this application right now, I'm
Sure.
just gonna lose progress or something's gonna
Sure.
glitch. And I'm like, I have a compilation of all the captures just because as soon as I'd fall, knees break, respawn, I'm like, Xbox record that, clicking the capture button. And I want to put together like a super cut, like a minute, two
Yeah.
minute long reel of just walk, fall, knees break. And I like sent some of the clips to my buddy, and he's like,
Uh.
yeah, that's the pit for you. And I was like, you knew about this, dude? Like, you didn't give me that heads up? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Some friend he is,
yeah,
Jesus.
all right, yeah, just haunted me, just haunts me to this day. If there
I'm with you.
if the pit is in Fallout 3 remake, I'm gonna be fucking
It's in
terrified.
Fallout 76.
I'm scared to get on the roof. All right, I'm scared to get on those fucking like climb those big fucking
Yeah,
steam pipes. Right, like
sure.
terrifying, terrifying. But that is like my ultimate bug story.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh yeah,
The Pit, I would say, even if, like if you took all the DLC, the Pit, not even that great of a one. Like it was fine, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it was not worth that. Is what I'm getting at.
100%. Yeah,
But I did really like Point Lookout. I liked Mothership Zeta was really interesting, the alien
yeah,
one. But for me personally, like there's the infamous like the no face where it's like anytime there's just their eyeballs floating or whatever, and
yes,
it's like, oh,
dude.
that's great.
Yeah.
That happened. I don't think it happened at all throughout like my very first playthrough, which is weird. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, cool, like good job, Bethesda, you did a thing.
Yeah, you
And then
properly
it
programmed
happened
the game.
all. You made a game. It
Yeah,
happened all the time on my second playthrough, and I was like, did I do something? Like,
yeah,
is there something that I triggered somehow by knocking over this one item that
yeah.
somehow sent this chain reaction to
Right.
this glitch or something?
Which game was it the second playthrough of?
Fallout 3, just
Oh,
generic
okay,
Fallout 3.
okay, it was three. Oh, okay,
Mhm.
you
Just
fucking
vanilla Fallout 3.
yeah, you blew up Megaton, and Todd Howard was like, "You scumbag! Nobody's gonna have
Yeah.
a face in this game anymore. Everyone's just gonna be floating
Rightfully
eyes."
so.
Yeah,
Rightfully so. You got me, Todd. Jesus. Um,
yeah,
That was never my canon thing. Or I did that just to
Mhm.
see. I say
Right.
beforehand just to see the spectacle, and then I reload. It'd be like I would never do that.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I remember, and this isn't even really a bug, but it's something that is just memorable for me. I used
Mhm.
to. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But I used to collect baseball memorabilia. Like anytime
Oh,
I'd find a baseball glove
yeah.
or a baseball bat, and there's like
Mhm.
few other baseball things. I think you can find like a very rare like helmet and like a
Right.
card and stuff like that. So whenever I'd find that, I would take it to my house in Megaton and I'd
Mhm.
throw it in my storage room. I had that
Oh,
room
okay.
in the back was
Yeah.
just baseball shit, right?
Yeah.
I got to the point where, no exaggeration, I had like 200 baseballs,
Holy shit.
300 baseball bats,
Yeah.
400 baseball gloves. Like I had a
Yeah.
shit ton of this stuff, right?
Mhm.
So every time I'd go into my house, it would
Yeah.
fucking explode with shit because it's trying to load in.
Dang!
It's trying to load in all this baseball
Yeah.
memorabilia. So is
Yeah.
this a bug? Probably not.
No,
I
no.
think I did this
Oh,
myself,
yes, 100%.
but
Yeah. We
every time
kinda
I'd load in, and my guy would just be
Mhm.
like, like he
Yeah.
just could not move, and you just see
Mhm.
all these things falling
Yeah.
and flying and
Fucking
flailing.
games at 2 frames a second of PowerPoint
Seriously, dude.
slideshow shit, dude. So
But
good for trying to
did that stop me? No,
no,
I kept collecting
yeah,
baseball memorabilia, baby.
try to start a
But
league of your own, the fucking DC Wastelanders, dude.
I'm trying to create a future for when I
Yeah.
retire. All right, we're gonna have all this stuff. We have a league.
Yeah.
Fallout 4. There's a whole baseball diamond, man. You don't know what you're
Mhm.
missing.
You were ahead of your
Um,
time, man. You knew what was
yeah,
coming.
exactly. I was ready for 4, baby. But yeah, and then going forward, like I always like in New Vegas, my thing was like my character likes whiskey. So like no matter
Yeah.
what, if I found whiskey, down it.
Yeah.
Just bah, bah, every
Mhm.
time. So then I got addicted to whiskey, obviously.
Right.
But it was just so like it was baseball memorabilia for 3. It was whiskey for New Vegas, I think it was. Sorry, I don't know if I
Mhm.
misspoke. It was New Vegas was one where I was addicted to whiskey.
Yeah.
Fallout 4, I didn't have one because I was just so
Yeah.
like Fallout 4 is a thing. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting off track now. So, but yeah, I created my own bug essentially.
Yeah.
So, okay, now that we are on to the meat and potatoes of the episode, we are talking about Vault 19. Once again, I'm taking the lore straight from fandom.com. So go over there and give them the click. By 2281, the vault had been abandoned by its original inhabitants and is currently occupied by Powder Gangers founder Samuel Cook and his escaped convict fellows. So I just wanted that to be at the top. So like currently
Mhm.
what this vault is that powder gangers have taken over this vault, so that tells you it's in New Vegas. At least for me initially, that was like, oh, powder gangers, New Vegas,
Right.
cool. The inhabitants of Vault 19 were segregated into 2 different color sectors, red and blue, with limited contact between them. Vault 19 was unique because it had 2 overseers, one of the red sector and one of the blue sector. Now, before I continue, I want to say this one is really interesting.
Oh,
This is one of the
yes.
first vaults where it's like, oh, this was a real fucking experiment.
Yeah.
Like this one gets interesting. I like
Mhm.
this. So continuing on. The main purpose of the vault's experiment was to induce paranoia through non-chemical and non-violent means. So they can't just like produce gas
Mhm.
through the vents. They can't just start an uproar and start murdering people and then start paranoia. That would defeat the purpose of said experiment. So
Right.
they tried to do so through subliminal messaging may have been the factor, as a child states on his terminal that was hearing a high-pitched noises, and so were his friends. Many journal entries indicate levels of paranoia, blaming the other faction, which for this experiment, it makes sense that you'd have two groups that are
Mhm.
completely segregated and then start inducing that paranoia. I feel like that's ingenious, evil, but ingenious.
Yeah.
The doctor for okay, blaming the other faction for vault malfunctions and the doctor for drugging them. There were also notes of hearing noises, feeling unusual air drafts from vents, and seeing the lights blinking patterns like some sort of code. So they were so up in their own mind. They're like, oh, that's Morse code for something. Both factions blamed this on the other, unaware that the true culprits were the overseers at the direction of Vault-Tec. Some inhabitants suspended that the doctor may also have been involved. Patient notes in the clinic indicated that many patients were experiencing psychosis and aggression, but the notes do not indicate that the doctor is ever aware of what is causing these things. The vault inhabitants' fate is unknown. When the convicts who escaped the NCR correctional facility led by Samuel Cook discovered the vault, it was abandoned. So, that is the summed up thing of the experiment. It gets way more fucked up than that. There are so many more things that that they are inducing paranoia, and then this group is like they did this. This group's like no, no, no,
Mhm.
they did this, and they don't have much contact with each other at all. Is like the
Yes.
crux of it, right?
Mhm.
And in my notes, we're at the point where it says Austin's notes. First genuine experiment headed by Vault-Tec induced paranoia through non-violent, non-chemical methods. So, like I said, this is the first one where it's like, oh, Vault-Tec was in their bag on this
Yeah.
one. Like we had the one with Braun where that's just an evil motherfucker doing
Right.
his thing, right? But this one felt like, oh, this is Vault-Tec.
Yeah.
Patient, okay, another one of my notes. Patient files are found on the terminal detailing files from an outside facility, but they are fake. So,
Shit.
all the doctor's notes are just completely made up, right?
Mhm.
To the point where like where they're coming from, like the source of said notes are completely
Mhm.
made up. So the doctor had to be in on it. That's I think a fact. Who is the antagonist? Blue Overseer? Red? The Doc? I, it's hard to tell, right? Like who
100%.
you can just put Vault-Tec.
Yeah.
Maybe just boom, Vault-Tec is to blame, which is probably kind of true for
Mhm.
most of them. There's also a third entity in the form of staff technicians below the vault. They are also kept in the dark. So the staff technicians that are working on like keeping all this running, that they don't even know
Mhm.
what exactly they're working on, are making this vault just continue to tick.
Mhm.
And those staff technicians are what were the source of some of the noises. That makes sense. Makes sense to me at least.
100%. Yes.
And then I wonder, did they escape the vault?
Mhm.
Did these inhabitants actually escape Vault 19, or did the paranoid did they kill each other?
Right.
It's really hard to tell.
Mhm.
What we do know is that there's not like blood spilled everywhere. Like
Yeah.
there's no like huge mass grave of bodies. So
Right.
some would think, who knows?
For sure.
And my last tidbit is sorry.
Go
Since
for it.
the vault was located in a silver cave, which makes sense that you have staff technicians kind of like making sure this whole thing works,
Mhm.
the experiment was null before it started because when you're in this cave, it like you're already creating paranoia in a sense that's like outside of your control,
Right.
right? It's no longer a controlled experiment.
Mhm.
So, what do you think
Perfect.
about that, Josh?
Lots to unpack here. First of all,
Sure,
love the quest that goes on in here. I like the parallels between the quest and all the lore you're finding in here, right? Between like
sure.
you have Sam Cooke, I think is his name, and the other guy, right? And they're kind of, telling you their side of the situation and how they're kind of split up and on different ends, right?
Yeah, in a
Right.
weird sense of like deja vu or not deja vu, like how history repeats itself. Like
Yeah.
that kind of the same thing happened to
Mhm.
Sam Cooke and his like gang of people, his powder gangers.
Yeah, exactly. And you talk to them,
Mhm.
they're not like they don't want to be there, right? And they're not really fully on board with either side, right? Like they're just guys kind of caught in the middle of this conflict between these two dudes, right? Why can't we be
Mhm.
friends? Parallels the quest very well. Parallels the situation going on in the vault very well. So love that. Love that it's another hidden vault too. Just random parkade. You just find like the tunnel
Yeah,
on, right. Go down in.
always makes
Explore
it
that.
like one more level cooler in a different
Right.
way. Because I do like when you find one that's just a big rolly door. I think that's cool
Yeah.
for a different reason. But when you find one
Mhm.
that's like more hidden and secluded, it's like they were in their
Yeah.
bag on this one.
Yeah. They got the sulfur, right, which may have led to the water poisoning. Which there is also stuff about water poisoning
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
trying to you know almost cause more paranoia by saying that there's water poisoning and shit like that.
Sure.
The geckos down there too, right? Maybe they're causing the noises. Like
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
know.
Like the cave heavy sulfur with the geckos. Like I said, it makes the controlled experiment no longer controlled because
Yeah,
at that point you could be inducing paranoia through chemical means,
right.
like because of the sulfur, and then
Exactly.
non-violent isn't there, but like
Yeah,
there are just things that you're not controlling to induce
mhm,
said paranoia. So
exactly. And then love the it's giving very Cold War Red Scare paranoia, right? In terms of
sure,
like reading the journals and shit like that, and
that's Fallout, baby.
right? And like, red guys are starting to not trust each other and being like, oh, is there a blue spy amongst us, right? Like, I think, an incident that happens here where there's a blue bottle cap like left in one of the common areas, and that just like throws just a whole wrench, and people start like wondering
There was
like
I think there was a bottle cap with like a blue star or
yes,
something on it, and
yes,
that's what they were like.
yeah.
Oh, this has to mean something. Oh my
Right.
god! Yeah,
There's a spy. This is a hidden message. Like the fucking Blues trying to sabotage Red. Like there's just this like it's giving like USA versus Russia like fucking
right. Yeah.
total Cold War paranoia, all that shit, which I love. Right. Well, all the stuff on psychosis and starting to question the doctor, and they're like she never leaves, right? She always has a
Right.
guard detail. She's always there. Like, well, what the fuck is she doing, right? I think
Mhm.
isn't one overseer in on it, and the others like completely left in the dark
One
too?
one is given way more information than the other.
Right.
Is the thing. Like the one overseer, from what I understand, knows it's like a controlled experiment,
Mhm.
but is pretty much told no one will be harmed. It's just to see what we're doing. And the other one is like, I don't know if they're communicating with like someone with the staff technicians, but he knows
Right.
everything.
Right. Which I think the
I
fact that that guy knows everything and lets it
Yep.
happen and like is kind of behind the controlled experiment. I think that makes it our baddie. That's our
I'm with you. I just can't remember
right?
which one it is.
Oh, right. Yeah, I
Red
don't
or
know if
blue.
it's blue or yeah, exactly.
Let's just I'm just gonna go red/blue, but we'll
For sure.
know in the notes. But yeah,
Right.
because the other overseer, while he's has some blame, because I do think he knew there was something going on.
Yeah.
But as soon as it starts circulating, he's genuinely trying to help his people,
Exactly.
and then his own people become like they kind of suspect him too, and he's still
Right.
trying to be like, no, guys, like I
Yeah,
can't tell
dude.
you anything, but like I need you guys to just trust me.
Just
Like
trust me.
I'm looking out for you guys, like I
Yes.
promise.
And they're
But
like, "Fuck you!" Like you're a
yeah, which
spy.
honestly
Yeah.
makes sense. I get
Yeah.
it, which is just
Mhm.
leading right into the Vault Tech experiment, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
it's one of
Uh,
those things. We're like, fuck you, Vault Tech. It worked.
right.
Congratulations, you motherfuckers.
Exactly. And those were my main big like kind of takeaways of it. And then
Sure.
the last thing that I love is how ambiguous the ending is. We like it is left
You
up
just
to
don't
your
know?
yeah, it is left up to your imagination. What happened to these people? Did they come together and make it out, right? Are you taking that optimistic route, or did they
Mhm.
fucking turn on each other and kill each other because they were so paranoid,
Right?
right? Like
Yeah.
what what happened to these people? Like that's so interesting to me. Like I
Yeah.
like that
The
there's
one
no definitive answer.
I think to me personally, this is just what I'm reading out of it. Like I said, there's no mass grave.
Mhm.
So either at some point they murdered each other and the staff
Yeah.
technicians eventually found their way down there and they all fucking
Mhm.
cleaned it up, you know?
Yeah.
Or they broke free because I don't remember what civilization it is or like town or whatever, but there is something nearby
Mhm.
that almost gives remnants of this had to be started from something and
Right.
something with like a maybe not necessarily a geck but with means to get water and means to do this, so like
Right.
back and forth caravans through the vault to this civilization because they don't want to be in the
Mhm.
control experiment anymore, of course.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
either A, they murdered each other and someone somehow cleaned it up,
Mhm.
which I guess you could just let the geckos in,
Yeah.
right? And then they just kind of
Yeah.
eat
Yeah,
that shit up
exactly. Did
uh,
they escape to the caves and they're like, hey, like
and die there.
yes,
Yeah, that could
yes,
be too.
maybe they banded together, put aside their differences. It's this big hurrah moment. Whoa, there is no blue and red. We're one. Let's go out
We're
into the
violet.
caves. We're breaking out of here. We're no longer like subject to this fucked up experiment. They're marching
Magenta.
their way out, and then they just get eaten by a pack of fucking
You know
geckos. Like,
what?
you don't
You know what?
know.
You convinced me. That's the canon ending now because that's
Yeah.
very Fallout, where it's like they broke free. It
Yeah.
was great,
Yeah.
but then they opened the gate and it was over.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like fucking just uplifting ending that's like,
hmm
actually, just kidding. One last
Yeah,
horrible
it's one of those things where like it shows the nasty experiment, it
event.
shows the uppity end where it's like they finally came together, and then
Yeah.
the last frame is just the gate opening, and then a bunch of geckos in like a stop motion. It's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
100%.
yep, I think you convinced me that's the canon ending. So
Perfect.
going down to the overseer rankings, I am going to put red/blue.
Mhm.
I'm not keeping that placement yet. We're going to
Right.
discuss it, but red/blue overseer. Because again, even if we don't know which one was which, they both
Yeah.
played a part. We
Yeah.
agree at least that, right?
100%. Yeah.
So I think we agree that this is man, because if we're going how like monstrous, like how
Mhm.
much of a monstrosity they are, is that kind of like how we're
I think
ranking
so.
the overseer, like how awful they are, just like how we're
Yeah.
ranking the vault?
Mhm.
Okay. I think this is number 3,
I agree.
but I think this is also one of those things where, like, I know in the first episode I said, like, "Oh, this is Fallout, baby."
Yeah,
This is Braun is like, "This is what Fallout is," and
yeah,
then Red Blue Overseer for Vault 19, I'm like, "This is what Vault Tech is." You know what I mean?
100%.
Slight
I'm right there with
slight designation that's a little different, but
you. Yeah.
I just think that this is a great like blueprint, if you
Mhm.
will, for like what we expect from these vaults, where it's like a controlled experiment, really
Yeah.
fucked up, the ending's ambiguous,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I think too. What also makes this the weakest is we don't have names. Like it is just blue
sure,
overseer, red overseer versus
sure,
like Braun. We can put a distinct German voice to, and he's playing a
yeah,
fucked up little girl, right? And then
hmm
we hear a lot about Mr. House, right?
Mr. House,
And his nefarious actions and kicking people out, and how that directly like affects certain people, right? Especially with that dude's wife, right, who
yeah,
died as a result of his greediness. Right, there's a lot more there versus this is a lot more just like logs. We're hearing about this. We're not able to put a face to it. We're not able to put a name even to it. We just
yeah,
know that they were involved with this fucked up experiment. Therefore, they're fucked up, but not as fucked up as the other two.
I agree. I completely agree. Now I think I where we go from like the definitive ranking is 1 Braun from Vault 12,
Mhm.
2 Mr. House from Vault 21, and again, yes, Mr. House is not the overseer, but he was, in my opinion, I think you agree, he was like the
Yeah,
main villain of that kind of overarching story of Vault
100%.
21.
Yes.
And then in Vault 19, we were putting them at number 3, right under Mr. House
Yeah.
for Vault 19. Okay. Um, and like I was trying to kind of lead into, I think I actually would put Vault 19 above Vault 21 in terms of how fucked up the vault is overall. Because Vault 21 was the gambling vault, right?
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, there's more law and order to that
100%.
than this controlled experiment, right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And we talked about it too. Last time we ranked the vaults, right? Like there is law and order there. There's not a democracy, but there's still a system to uphold,
hmm
how decisions are made and stuff
And
like
it
that.
seemed until like the decision was being made
Yes.
for them to like stay in the vault or leave the vault
Yeah.
or whatever. It seemed like you genuinely had a chance to like
100%.
get
Yeah.
your way. Yeah.
Yeah, total equilibrium. Everyone's on the same equal playing field. It is left up to
hmm
Lady Luck. It is not based on your skill. It is not based on your education, your fucking strength, anything like that. It is just based on luck and gambling. And of course, there's some
Yeah.
nefarious actions. Some people rig the game, kick everyone out. That's where it gets really nefarious, right? But
I agree.
other than that, just looking at it as a vault, that vault tech is set up, I'm like, it's less fucked up, right? And then even
Yep.
even now, like with all the concrete poured and all the people evicted, it's
Yep.
still like a happy little go lucky community. You got a hot fucking, lady at the
Yeah.
front
All things
desk, right?
considered, Vault 21, not that bad.
Not that
Not that bad.
bad. Yeah, this is fucked up. Telling people that the water is tainted and make them sick, giving them fake psychosis that might be real psychosis diagnosis and shit like that.
Totally agree.
Doing all this random fucking paranoia, red scare shit. Fucked up, dude.
100%. It falls under, but we agree it falls under Braun and Vault 112,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
like that one is a whole doozy of a vault,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Like
I can
I
go ahead.
personally like in terms of like my favorite, I'd still like rank 21 above 19. Like I definitely go
Sure.
Tranquility Lane 21, um, and then 19 just because I like the execution a lot more of 21 and the
Sure.
idea of it. But when we're ranking solely on how fucked up these vaults are, absolutely 19 overthrows 21.
It would be fun at the end of the little run here that we're doing with ranking the vaults that we did like a top 5 personal
Yeah,
list,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And not necessarily the most fucked up, just like the ones we enjoyed,
Oh
whether it
yeah,
was like the way the story was told, the way it was portrayed in the games, that kind of thing.
100%.
Just these are my favorites.
I'm
So
down. Absolutely.
little housekeeping in the live on the show there. So yeah, so the official ranking for the vaults again by how fucked up we find them is number 1 Vault 112, number
Mhm.
2 Vault 19, and number 3 Vault 21. And we are getting into many, 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 many more vaults in the days to come. But I can see just before we get out of here, I can see Vault 112 remaining at that top echelon. I'm not saying
Yes,
number one, but like
sir.
top echelon. I can see Vault 19 being that middle tier, right? I
Mhm.
can see that being like, oh, this is gonna hover right around the middle here, like an
Yeah.
average fucked up vault.
Mhm.
And I can see Vault 21 being near the bottom because like
Yeah.
not that bad. Like we said,
Personal, yeah, it's up there for me personally, but it ain't that bad,
it
man. I
ain't that
love
bad.
gambling.
Out of these three, if I had to pick one, I'm picking 21 every
100%.
single day, baby.
Yes, sir. I'm gambling, man.
All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. That has been the Pip Boys podcast. We are ranking each and every vault. We currently are doing which vault next? 13. Vault 13 is next. There's a little spoiler for you. So once again, thank you for watching. I'm waving goodbye to the camera. See you later. Bye.